But we have to kick things off, boy, with probably one of the most highly anticipated trailer drops of the year. Of course, we had to talk about Superman, but we had to talk about Superman, right? So let me just
Yes.
give my thoughts quickly, right?
Yeah.
I don't know about you all, but I was there 9:56 a.m. Well, in Trinidad. I sat down. I saw the time, the little clock go down. You know what I mean? From
Notification.
1 minute 30 seconds all the way down to 0. I saw it. So I saw the trailer in real time. I did that, right? And to be honest, I was not completely blown away by it, right? But that's not to say that this was not a great trailer. Not blown away in the sense that this is still a teaser trailer nonetheless, though, and it's just pretty much there to just tell you we, as in Warner and DC, we are straying away as far from the Snyderverse and the what you call it, the DCEU, right? We're straying away from it as far as possible with this. A lot of people say this about the trailer, and it is true. Yeah, it just brings back the hope. It has a sense of hope throughout this entire trailer, right? I mean, for one thing, I didn't think anybody expected to see Superman drop into, crash land into some tundra, bruised and whatnot.
With the arm choppers.
Yeah, like I'm just watching this, wait, what?
And everybody's been cracking up about
what's
that.
going on here? What?
Yeah.
Like I was genuinely concerned, right? Even though I watched the trailer, right? And then he just hear any music bill and whatnot, right? And then he does that whistle, and okay, he's whistling, all right. And then you just see this this movement in the snow. I'm like, okay, wait, don't tell me it is what I think it is. And yep, it is Crypto, right? It is Crypto, the Superdog, right? And that's one thing that James Gunn really nailed here. It's just the sense that we're going back to basics here. Snyder, we could argue, was trying to go for a way to the realism, but he had to be dark because he did Watchmen, so it's like, oh well, dark means realistic, so let's do that, right? And the end result was BVS and to extent, his Justice League, right? But this one was like, this is Superman. We're going back to basics. Or you find Crypto is goofy. Well, that's Superman, bitch. That's the law. That's where we at, right? And that's what he does, right? But at the same time, he's given us a sense of the world that he is, more or less going back into. Well, sorry, reintroducing us into. So Metropolis, the Daily Planet, seeing Superman as Clark Kent. Props for that hairdo that he have there. His relationship, of course, with Lois Lane and whatnot. And then just giving us the sense that yes, this is Superman, the Superman that we've always kind of wanted. From let me just argue from since 2013, right? I know from there, the music builds. I love how they was drawing inspiration from John Williams' timeless, score for the film, for the 1978 film. I love how they did that. And that's everything else from there looks really solid, right? Even that one moment that I know a lot of people kind of making memes of, that one guy throwing that can to Superman's head, like, yeah, look, catch this, bitch, and it hits him, right? So it's that kind of stuff, right? Because it is a teaser, however, there are some things where they're just shown and they're like, all right, well, in the next trailer, hopefully, the official trailer, you'll get more context, right? So at the moment, I'm not sure what Luther's plan is. I actually do like how Nicholas Hoult look in all this. I don't know how they're going to incorporate Mr. Perfect or,
Terrific.
or Green Lantern.
Mr. Terrific.
Mr. Terrific, sorry about that, right? That other guy, Metamorpho, I think that's his name.
Simon Stagg. You saw the Stagg company in the background.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know what a kaiju is about, but I feel like it's going to be like Guardians 2, where you have our hero fight this big body just because. I feel that's the point of it there, right? But yeah, at the end of the day, that's what this trailer is about. It's just to give you the vibe and the tone of the film. But it does not tell you what the show is about, right? So if I just have one gripe, but it's just a nitpick, and I hope that the official trailer goes into it. We never really got a sense of Superman himself. Like, we didn't really hear him talk, we didn't see him, properly standing up, and in particular with the tights and whatnot, right? You see like a side view of it, right? So I hope that in the official trailer you get to see more of him, right? Because even in the Man of Steel trailer, right, which I always remember because of just Hans Zimmer's score, which still gives me goosebumps, especially when it reaches that climax. But it's like, woof, you know what I mean? You got that line where Lois asks, what does the S signify? He says it means hope. at least you got a line from from Superman, right? In this one, we got nothing, right? Which it is what it is, right?
It's more feeling than words, but yeah.
Yeah, because we don't hear him talk. The only time you really hear him talk is with hip crypto home. That's it.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. The
Mhm.
crypto home line, which is fine, but never like
Yeah.
never a moment where I'm like, I am Superman, or like what you're seeing here. This guy.
Oh God,
is gonna
please!
be the
I
new
hope he never
Superman.
uses that line.
That kind of vibe, right? Yeah. So yeah, again, just to wrap things up, not completely blown away by it. Like I watch it, I was like, this is solid though, but I was not like running out the room like, holy shit,
Right.
like that, right?
Yeah,
But I
exactly.
was still
In
like,
fact, the little
I
teaser they
was.
did before, the teaser you did before had me more hype because the whole look up thing now.
yes, the look up, which
Yeah.
is a
Yeah,
which is
yeah.
a perfect tagline in my opinion, right?
And then they use a different song for the motion poster. That had me more hype actually than
Yeah.
this. Yeah.
Yeah. But for me though, it's just to set up the tone of it, right? But I know that in the next trailer, which heaven knows when you'll get it next year, seeing that this movie is coming out July the 11th, right? Yeah, that's where I hope we get a sense of what the show is going to be about. We could hear, Superman / Clark Kent say something. We could hear Lois say something. We could hear Lex say something and whatnot. And we have an idea of how these other side characters are going to be involved in this, right? But last
Right.
thing though, there's a lot that's riding on this though. But I think that under James Gunn's hands, it should be a solid outing, right? But at the same
Yeah.
time, he still had to play under Warner rules. I know Warner is just get a little hesitant, a little frightened when it comes to things. So I hope that
now we have
before,
that slap
like
to
leading
deal
up
with.
to July 11th, we don't get the first 8 minutes of the movie. Just saying. I hope we don't get that, right? But yeah, solid trailer nonetheless. But that's nothing mind blowing. But I feel like the official trailer, I feel that could be mind blowing to me, right? So yeah, Ricardo, your thoughts?
Yeah, no, yeah. I think Gunn is nailing it. Look, no secret, I'm a big fan of James Gunn. In my opinion, he's the best thing to come out of the MCU directors wise. He has more or less a pretty more or less flawless track record actually. All things considered, at least in the directing end. The masterpiece that is PG porn, right? I follow him since then, right? But no, he's somebody who just I think nailing it when it comes to what is a good ratio of Donner and Singer and Snyder. Because here's the thing, I gain a lot of Snyder from this, in some ways, but it's not how to think about it, boy. He's not. I don't think he's the opposite. I don't think he's the opposite of Snyder. People acting as if this is a complete refutation or repudiation of Snyder, and to an extent, yeah, I can understand why you say that. But to me, I just see it as a kind of, for lack of a better term, he's the yang to Snyder's yin, right? That's how I see it. Like with Snyder, there's a little bit of good and a lot of bad. And with this, I've seen a little bit of bad in what I think is mostly good. Like that's how I think about it. What I get from this, if it's anything, again a Bumblebee vibe from this, right? Where, yeah, it feeds in like a little bit like yesterday's homework pivoting off of the Snyder stuff, right? Much like how Bumblebee was yesterday's homework pivoting off of the Bayverse, but it's still good. And the pump has been primed in terms of us accepting a hopeful Superman because of Quaid and Hecklin, right? Both of their shows are excellent, feel like counterparts. So like this is what you're supposed to do with respect to a hopeful Superman kind of stuff, right? And yeah, he's zagging where Snyder zigged, right? As a framing itself. Framing itself as a new superhero show and framing itself as part of apart from the MCU, because I think there's something really interesting he might be doing here, and I could probably the trailer properly drops as opposed. This might just pure speculation on my part, but this might be just a kind of like oversimplified take. But how I always interpreted that if the MCU is like neoliberalism and the DCEU's neoconservatism, this is more a kind of open anarchism, because that's how the Guardians films felt. It just felt like a kind of more open, found family, out in the wilderness kind of thing about the whole thing. But there's a kind of freedom, but also hope and love aspect of it. And he's done that really well in the Guardians films. All of these lost souls coming together kind of thing. He tried to do that with a kind of new generation and the zeitgeist with that. That's what I feel about it. That is again you might write just simple interpretation, but that's how I kind of think about it. But the new tone and Gunn pulling from that tone that Hecklin and Quaid kind of laying the foundation for, and then building the momentum for that to put that into a full mainstream. And yeah, again now with this trailer. This trailer have like so many like little things about it. I guess that scene with the little boy lifting up the flag thing is like, yeah,
You know.
that's Gunn kind of cooking here. He kind of cooking. With that kind of stuff now, everybody Superman, the boy closing the eyes and hope, and then that shot with Superman that's flying and protect the girl and that kind of stuff now. And they nailing it. And it's just all these little small things. And then it also pivoting off of like what I suspect Rock tried to take advantage of, because that seeing Guy Gardner and Hawkgirl and not Metamorpho, who's the other person in here? But it's basically is JLI, right? And that feeling like what Rock was doing with that Justice League alternate thing in Black Adam, right? It feeling like a kind of Black Adam, and I suspect that Rock tried to jump in front of the parade that Gunn was setting up. That's what I suspect happened. That's why it was so easy for Rock to get drum out now. Like, because he take advantage of something that wasn't a creative conceit. He just pull a bunch of ideas and then make you one thing quick. At least that's what I think it's coming across, because I find it so similar now. Like, in terms of like why it is of a JLI in a movie about Superman kind of thing already. That would feel like, I was like, all right, and then you have Metamorpho, you have Luthor. It's called Luthor Corp. It's like, is the dad still in charge? What's going on there? Stuff like that. Like, and yeah, I don't know. Look, I'm a bias, obviously, but in Gunn we trust. And yeah, let's go. He kind of cook. Yeah, it's looking good, looking real good. And yeah, I feel we go get like what Reeves was for Batman. We getting this for Superman. You're gonna absolutely nail it.
Yeah, agreed. So yeah, Tracy, close things off with your thoughts on the Superman trailer.
Well, first of all, I was one of those screaming at a teaser. I was one of those screaming at a teaser. I ain't gonna lie. Ricardo, before I start, let me just say I really love your brain. Like the way how the idea of the neoconservatism as to what old DC was.
No, yeah, like Snyder's. Yeah, Man of Steel felt like that. Yeah, at the time when Man of Steel came out, I was like, all right, they're doing Neocon Superman. That's what it is. Like it's clearly the same aesthetic. It's like the mere fact how Jonathan Kent was talking the way he was talking, and I hate all of that, but I get what he was going for. Like the logic of it. Is that sheepdog need to protect the sheep from wolves bullshit, no? Like that, it's that logic, right? Is that? And I was like, all right, good. That's where it's going in terms of the militarism and thinking about how Superman should fight, and you have to break Zod neck because you have no other choice. That kind of thing now. That's what it felt like. That's just my naive take. It could be a naive take. You could dismiss it as that. I'm just some fucking guy on the internet, but that's how it always felt. And Gunn, as a counterpart to the MCU, because the MCU always had their own like problematic perspective of how to take a narrative. Gunn could carve his way out of that now, and he already did it with the Guardians films, right? He always did that. All the Guardians films had that, so is that, yeah.
Well, it's funny you should talk about things like Zod and all that kind of stuff, because like I have in my notes here, because thinking about this trailer, and the first thing that I have written on there is I have rationalized a whole heap and lot over the last batch of DC movies. Like Clark having to snap Zod's neck means that he doesn't kill anymore because he knows what it means to take a life and he's never going to take a life. Or like Bruce suddenly deciding that he's going to kill Superman because Kal-El's arrival was basically his 9/11. These were the ways that I rationalized that era of movies.
Oh no, yeah, Batman's logic is straight up Donald Rumsfeld.
Listen, it's it was very much like, this is 9/11, this is what we're going to do. It's a scorched earth policy, and this is how we're going to operate.
Yeah.
I feel like when I looked at this teaser, and it is a teaser, and I have this weird sneaking suspicion, this is just me, that New Year's Day they may drop the first full trailer to be like New Year, new Superman, new day.
Right.
But that's just me. I have no nothing to go to back that up with. If it turns out to be prophetic, well done. Anyhow, but I looked at this teaser trailer, and I don't feel like if I have to rationalize anything, like I look at him and I'm like, this is Superman.
Yep.
And it's very interesting, like, something that you said there in terms of like, we have Superman on the small screen. No matter how people might feel about Smallville and the soap opera-ness of Smallville showed exactly what Clark was and how Clark dealt with before he actually put on the suit. And then you had Superman and Lois for 4 seasons, which could have been 8 seasons as far as I'm concerned. But you had 4 seasons of Superman as a father, how do you deal with that? And that was brilliant. And then, of course, My Adventures with Superman, you
Right.
get to see him as like hopeful and loving. And yes, he argues, and yes, he has anxiety and everything else, but he's still like this person. That is the kind of vibe that I get from this feeling. And, you know, there's a line that, coming back to the whole rationalization of things, there is a line that I have never really been able to, let's use the word forgive, when Clark is getting ready after Lois sees him and he's getting ready to go and fight Bruce, and he says, "I guess no one stays good in this world," and then flies off. And I
Yeah.
found that to be deeply problematic, and I mean, unforgivable is too harsh a word, but that hurt me more than Save Martha and the fact that Lex Luthor was the one who came up with all the logos for all the superheroes and all this kind of thing.
Right.
I don't feel that when I watch David.
Sorry, just to continue with the BVS talk, right? I think
Mhm.
what makes that line even worse though is just that mind-numbing music that Hans Zimmer gave us, that really bleak, hopeless music that burn, burn, burn,
Yeah,
burn. It's like, oh God, man, what are you doing, Zach?
it,
No,
it's
as I said, listen. I'm in the camp to this day. I have no problem saying I'll defend Man of Steel. Right? I get what
Man of
Zack
Steel
Snyder
was
was
a
going for.
vibe.
Yeah, exactly. I would I'll still not defend it, but like it was not bad. It was. I get what they were going for. Yes, it have a lot of unforced errors in it, but I get what you're trying to go for, and it's a shame that he couldn't build from it properly. Much like how the first Transformers and Michael Bay. First one, all right,
Mhm.
and then the others, the sequels, is like just nonsense after nonsense after
What we doing?
nonsense. You're right, but
And this is
it's a
not.
damn shame they couldn't build on it well now. And look, Gunn is the kind of guy that could build and pivot from stuff well. Because Gunn
I,
not doing nothing.
mhm.
So far, I've seen nothing that blew in my mind. I've seen all the elements of stuff that I like. He just taking it together and cobbling it up. And hopefully we'll get something that is more than the sum of its parts. Right? That's what
Right.
I'm really hoping for.
And
So it's that
that's the
now. Yeah.
thing. That is the thing. Sorry, that's the thing that pushes me towards this, because it's not for me. It's not a Henry versus David kind of scenario. But what it is, looking at that teaser, is that James's material and his approach to it, because he's been talking from since he came on as head of DC Studios with Peter Safran. Like what kind of classic vibe that they're going for. Even the logo has gone back to like the old
Yeah.
logo and
Yeah.
what it means, the classic logo.
Golden Age, yeah, Golden Age stuff, Silver Age stuff, yeah.
So I feel like, this version of Superman that he is creating, and I'm sure for all the other creators that will follow after, the approach and the material that he has is what's going to make it, a whole lot better, even down to, like Black Zeus says on his videos, even down to, the draws on the outside. That is classic Superman. And the thing for me was, and this is just a little pedantic thing, like I wasn't exactly 100% Gun when like the casting news and everything came out, because I looked at all this talk about being classic and being classic, and what I really saw was an all-white cast. Everything just went back to the all-white cast, and I sat down there and I thought, so like people like Stephanie Sue was she even part of the auditioning process? And I say things like that because like I look at Jack Quaid's Superman and like his Lois is
Right.
Asian. That is a real thing.
Yeah, I
Jimmy
think
is
in this
black.
show, it's only Perry. Perry is the only black character.
Wendell
I think so.
Pierce. I saw
Wendell
a
Pierce,
photo
right?
of Wendell Pierce as Perry, and I
Right.
was like, with the cigar in his mouth, and I was like, that is Perry.
And
So even
again, when this guy did Lawrence Fishburne, again,
Mhm.
solid choice. Like it's a decent
Yeah.
choice. It works as a conceit, and the Gun building from that and not changing it or not changing him or just saying, look, you just get another guy, another black guy to come through as Perry White. Great.
coming
It's simple.
as Perry. It works.
Yeah.
And like I said, I saw the photo that he posted up on the morning of, that's Wendell saying, trailer drops in a few hours. And it's that photo of Perry, and he has the cigar in his mouth, and I looked at it, and I could literally hear him screaming, Kent! And so I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, this guy could work. So that worked. However, watching that teaser trailer, especially with the way how Lois, this was two little scenes with Lois walking there with the paper in her hand and stuff like that. By the way, this actually feels like a bullpen. This feels like
Yep.
like the old tiny news outlet. This is not somebody making a story about how we haven't had good sales since 1930 something, or what, that kind of little snide things he would put in there. This feels like it. And yes, I was one of those people who was, when that little boy closed his eyes and like to the point of praying with his little flag flying in the sky, chanting and calling for Superman, and you could hear other people in the background doing the same. That did something to me. And I
Nice.
want to also just say this: modern does not have to mean heartless. There was this whole era honestly, from since the early 2000s, where we started to think that, okay, superheroes need to be grounded and gritty and real instead of just being aspirational and actually have heart. That is the reason why we have to have things like, what did you expect? Yellow spandex, because heaven forbid that we should have our heroes be, colorful and that kind of stuff. So just put them in black leather. And even in like what DC was doing, the whole gray overtones and the gray dourness of it and everything of the sort. It's like, I get where you're going, but maybe we could still have a modern aesthetic of what Superman is, but it could be bright, it could be light. The man is supposed to lead people into the light. Why not just play into that? And I feel like if Gunn does that well, or rather will do that well, Nicholas Hoult as Lex, that just feels like, first of all, Nicholas Hoult his name has been traveling over every kind of superhero movie from, like, at one point in time there was talk about him maybe being Batman on all those kinds of things, and that didn't happen, and Rob Patterson got it. But like, Nicholas looks like Lex. Somebody on Twitter put up a thing that says, welcome back Lex Luthor," with a side-by-side photo of Rosenbaum with the glasses and him with his glasses, because they put up some new shots. And I had to laugh because I live in that small little camp, and I'm like, yes, welcome back Lex Luthor.
Yeah, and I kind of feel how we're just trying to throw the Snyder stuff under the bus, because again, I
No.
do understand the choices that were made. I understand the choices. Look, it's ideas over execution. And that's why I say I don't really consider this as a refutation, but just more like you zag where you could have zig. And look, as usual, Snyder fans kind of continue to be trash about this whole thing. And again, onto that, I think they got to chase this boy off the internet. We call him David A. I see that. I was like, oh
Oh,
gosh,
really? Huh.
all your guys, because he liked the trailer. I was like, guys, you see why all this shit going through, right? Whatever. But yeah, it's stuff like that. Like, it's like, I don't want to throw the Snyder stuff necessarily under the bus, because again, Snyder, they made decisions that I don't think Snyder had full control over, and I think he got more than enough of a fair shake, but he still also beat a couple of bad cards at the same time, right?
Yes.
And I just think this is just acknowledging the past in that sense, because like when you listen to that motion picture, the motion poster.
Mm-hmm.
Listen to that song. It sounds like a mix of the Donner stuff, but the Snyder stuff, right? In terms of the music, right? It feels like both. What do we call them? The two composers, right? For the Donner.
And John.
Right. Yeah, and Williams, right? Yeah, Williams and Zimmer combined. It feels like a combination of that, right? So that is where I think Gunn not throwing away the past or throwing anybody under the bus. You're getting all the elements. It's just, as I say, the ingredients is not the problem. It's the chef, right? You had to as I say, you had to let him cook. You had to let him cook, right? Is that meme with you have back and you grab it in Bleach, right? Let's hold up, let him cook. And yeah, that was again, I'm getting him just being conscientious enough to put this together in the right way. Is the ratio, the conditions, the way how you cook, the way how you put it together. That's how you do it. Yeah. Sorry.
That's the thing, I think, with a lot of us in fandom. There is a lot of revisionist history kind of vibe coming. Whenever something new and shiny comes on, everything else goes into the trash. I said, I think Man of Steel is a vibe. I will always be grateful to Snyder for looking at random actors and being like, this guy is Cyborg, that is Wonder Woman.
Here's another hot take. Here's a director I wish if this director come true, because it will be a nice deep cut. If they could get Tassim Singh to do a fucking movie, dog.
Hey, listen,
that could be a vibe.
He kind of alluded to that with Immortals,
right? Because he was in Immortals, right? But if Tassim Singh come and do a movie for this DCU, that could be kind of vibes though. like because he's basically Snyder, Like, if you think about it, they told him the same people. I think him, Michael Bay, and Snyder went to class together. Same school, roughly the same year. I think one was off by a year.
Okay, that I didn't.
Tassim Singh's style. Kasim Singh's style is something I'll be absolutely amazing in a DCU for a comic book movie.
Yeah.
Like he just had that energy and he had that. And if you want to talk about bright colors and thing, he's that guy. Remember
He
the
is that
fall?
guy. Yeah, the fall.
He is that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's one more hot take. Yeah, that is it. So yeah, go ahead.
No, but I'll take your hot take and I'll add to this. Do you think it would be in main continuity or as an Elseworld movie
Who?
if Tarsem came on board?
No, like one of the main movies. Like give him something.
Okay.
Like I don't know what you could give him, but give him a movie. I don't know, but it's something like that. I don't know, but I just a dream idea because I thought some style. He's a director that is so underrated in my humble opinion. Like in terms, he should be bigger. Guys, that although I make a joke that Edgar Wright should do the Atom also. So that.
Oh no! Oh,
if you know, you know, right?
No,
Yeah.
that'll be redemption for him, right? That will be the redemptive
Right.
moment in his career for him.
Right.
That's
There's a quick jab in the MCU, right? One time, right? And stuff like that. It's like whatever. Moving on.
I will wrap up my little rant, my little something here about the teaser by saying, one, I very much like what I'm seeing. Two, I like the idea that Clark is already existing in a world where
Yep.
there are heroes or
Yep.
people, metas and that kind of scene. I remember there was because I live on Twitter, for better or worse, and I remember seeing, something what James was saying. It's not necessary, even though they're all there, it's not necessarily like an ensemble movie. I mean, it is still a Superman movie, but they are there for a reason. So my guess is there may be some sort of Justice Society, or there may be like some sort of discordant type
I think
of
it's
just all these heroes just there. And then he
Yeah.
comes up and shows who he is. And
Yeah.
they're like, all right, well, in Clark we trust kind of
Right.
vibe.
Yeah. I think it's just League
you know-
International. I think that's what it is.
Probably, to be
I
honest.
think so.
My,
Yeah.
my one fear is like I'm watching just little bits of it, and I'm like, I see Guy Gardner inside Star's place, and I see Mr. Terrific, who I never thought I would see Mr. Terrific on
Yeah.
like big screen. Seeing him in Arrow is just fine and glorious. But I'm wondering if like Lex had his own, like if he had his own batch of heroes, and then like in Public Enemies, that animated film, he had his own set of heroes
Right.
that was working under
Right,
the
right, right,
government,
right,
and they
yeah.
all realized. So that's kind of, I'm wondering if that's going to be the take, but that's just a whole lot of speculation for a 2-minute teaser. But I look at it, and just as a first look, this gives me the hope that we all need. And of course, Water Tower Music released the John Williams, John Murphy mashup of
Okay.
Okay,
that trailer
nice.
score.
Mm.
It's there on Water Tower Music, so you could actually go and listen to it on Spotify or YouTube or wherever it is that you get yourself. I am very much ready. I'm ready. There's 3 movies that I am waiting for in 2025. Fantastic Four: First Steps with that retro futuristic universe.
I surprised we get a trailer. I surprised Marvel didn't try to like shut down the momentum and drop a trailer one time.
I suspect we will get one by year's end.
You'll get one
The
just now,
question is
yeah.
just
I think
when.
We'll get one just
When?
now.
Hmm.
Just to kill
Because
that
you remember,
momentum. Because they
you
do that all the
remember-
time to DC.
Feige worked with Donna and all that kind of stuff when he was starting off.
Yeah.
And then, like, so I'm sure, like, I remember when Wonder Woman came out, and he was like, he's very, whether it's just for public perception or whatever, but he said he was very excited about how good Wonder Woman was, because then it opens up the door for more female superheroes, etc., etc. So I feel like Feige is also one of those people who is very excited at the look of the Superman trailer, especially given, James.
Yeah, is he
Well,
boy?
I
He
suspect-
he come from there. So yeah.
But I suspect you're right. We would get a Fantastic Four trailer later on, but like Giacchino's score for that. So that is the one. That is one movie. Superman is the other, and of course, Wicked Part 2, which that's another story unto itself. But I feel like I'm ready. I'm ready for a new variant of Superman. And let me just end by saying each Superman brings something to the table. The films or the properties that they're in may not have always been 100% stellar. Like, I love Brandon Routh. Brandon Routh landing a plane, Brandon Routh Superman landing a plane in the middle of a baseball match is just peak Superman to me.
Yeah.
But there are things about Superman Returns, even though I have the DVD of itself. Superman Returns is okay, this could have been better. Each Superman brings something to the table, and I can't wait to see what David brings to the table with this one.